All right, today we are talking about exactly how to create the simplest business plan if you are a therapist in private practice. So if you want to create that business plan, make sure you stick around for the entire video. Let's dive in. What is the mission of the business? Any business that is worth anything is going to have a clear mission. It doesn't mean if you're selling a product or a gadget or you're a nonprofit trying to change the world. Even if you are a solo practitioner working by yourself in private practice, you still need a mission. So work on that mission statement. You want to really think about, at the end of my career, at the end of my journey in private practice, if I've accomplished my main mission, what was it? Another common way to answer this question around developing a mission statement is, what is your why? What's the reason you became a therapist in the first place? What's the reason why you show up to work every day to help people through therapy? All right, so once you have a mission statement, you need an operational plan. So you just want to think about, within the tasks that need to be done, which tasks am I going to do myself and which ones am I going to hire for? So everything from creating a website, doing my digital marketing, to having the walls painted. You want to write out your ideal job description as the owner of this business. When you have that ideal job description, it's going to be really clear for you early on where you should be focusing your time and energy and where you should be hiring out and outsourcing. You also want to think about things in this section like, how many hours a week do you want to work? How many weeks a year do you want to work? Will you work on the weekends? Will you work on evenings? Go ahead and sketch all this out now, even if it's going to change in the future. You just want to have a good starting point and a good idea of what you want this business to look like for you in particular. All right, make sure you click that subscribe button below so that you can keep getting help in building your private practice. All right, and next we need a financial plan. This is by no means going to be a comprehensive financial plan, but it's a good place to start. Included in this financial section of your business plan, I would go ahead and jot down, how much do you want to make in this business? You want to separate both your gross revenue in terms of the money you bring in, as well as the net revenue, meaning the money that you take home. So how much money do you want to make, and how much money do you absolutely need to make? This section can look a bit different depending on who you are and what your personal financial situation looks like. Another thing you want to think about in the beginning is, how much money do you have to put into this business now? Now, in general, I recommend against taking out a business loan. I think a private practice is one of those few businesses where you really don't need a business loan to get started and to be successful. I've personally grown and scaled multiple private practices and have never taken a single dollar to make it happen. I really don't like starting from a deficit. I feel like when you start from a deficit, that really comes across in everything you do next. That desperation can bleed into your marketing, the way you do sales calls with potential clients, everything. So you want to chart out next a rough idea of your monthly expenses. Everything from rent, utilities, website, logo, digital marketing budget, everything that you can think of here at the beginning stages of getting your private practice off the ground. Next, you want to think about, how many clients do you need to see at your full rate in order to break even, in order to just hit your bottom line for paying off your expenses. Then you want to think about, how many clients do you need to see per week or per month in order to be profitable or to hit that profit goal that we talked about earlier. 3 more things in the financial section. You want to jot down your projected marketing budget. So how much are you going to spend per month on marketing? I do recommend spending a bit more in the beginning, especially on digital marketing. Getting started with something like Google AdWords in the beginning can be super effective. If you are looking for Google AdWords help, go to www.unconditional.media to hire my team. Next, you want to get a rough idea of your projected income in this financial plan. Again, making sure that you're differentiating between gross revenue and net income. Finally, one of the most important things out of this whole business plan is that you want to have a rainy day fund. This is true in your personal finances as well, but it can and will rain. It's just a matter of time, as Dave Ramsey says. So you want to be prepared. Now, it might take a few months to build up this rainy day fund, but at some point you want to have between 3 and 6 months of your business expenses saved up in the case of your business taking a dive. This isn't to scare you, this is just to make sure you are prepared, because ultimately when you have this rainy day fund and you stick to this plan, you're going to feel more confident, you're going to have more peace of mind than if you went into it without a plan. All right, and finally, our plan to scale. So you want to think about, what does the future of this business look like in the next 1 year, 5 years, in 10 years. This can include both gross revenue numbers, net income numbers, and then of course your plans to potentially scale, whether it's multiple locations, adding clinicians, and if so, approximately how many, or it might mean including additional revenue streams like a group, or subleasing your office, or selling a product, or developing an online business. Maybe your plan to scale includes just increasing your fees once or twice a year, which I always recommend doing. Whatever you do, make sure that your plan to scale makes sense for you. Ultimately, this is your business, and I really think the beauty of private practice is being able to build a business that truly works for you. All right, a couple bonus questions to consider in formulating your business plan. Number one, think about who are your competitors. Do some research, figure out who's doing the kind of work that you want to do in your area. After all, it's good to know what is working in your particular area. I think there's a lot to learn from the successful practice owners that are already established in your particular city. Next, you want to think about what are your strengths. It's always good to play to your strengths. So if you're really good at forming relationships with people, then networking might be a good idea for you. On the other hand, if you're a bit more tech savvy like I tend to be, then focusing more on digital marketing and scaling and building your practice might be the best route for you to take. If you're really good with numbers, maybe you decide to do your own bookkeeping. If you're really bad with numbers, then maybe you don't. Speaking of which, you'd also need to identify what are your weaknesses or your areas of improvement. A simple rule of thumb is whatever these weaknesses are, you outsource for them. So rather than spending the next 6 months trying to figure out how to do your own website or how to build your own AdWords, you just simply hire for it and move on with your life. The last two questions I would consider as a bonus in this business plan is, what's most likely to get in your way? Because I think when you identify these potential barriers now, you're going to be a lot less likely to be inhibited by them in the future. And finally, my very last question for you in your business plan is, how do you define success? Again, the beauty of private practice is that you get to decide for yourself what the perfect business looks like. Ultimately, it's your private practice, and when you set that point in the distance, you'll be a lot more likely to know when you've actually arrived. All right, thanks for watching this video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.